Always nice to open a Tekkit world. I always wanted to make a Tekkit series because of all the Yogscast I watched growing up, but with Let's Plays being out of style, a 100 days video still seemed like a good choice. With this 100 days, I'm also using the SPHAX texture pack. Hardcore fans will know what that's about. Link in the description if you're interested. Not much really happened day 1, besides the usual mining and crafting essentials. Went to the mines day 2, mined some very important ores that will be useful later, like copper, iron, found some sapphires and rubies which I'll use to make some tools later on. You need a ton of resources to advance in this game, so it'll most likely be mining for the first few days. Day 3 I found a ravine and I made a new pickaxe out of rubies. No diamonds though, which is a good rule of thumb. Once you find diamonds you can actually leave the mines, so guess I'll have to keep mining. Found another ravine as well as some diamonds and a bunch of other resources. It may look like much, but it's still not exactly enough, so the mining continues. Day 5 got some more diamonds and made another pickaxe. This one made of diamond in order to get some obsidian, which will be instrumental later for my plans in the dark arts. Went out of the mines day 6 and started construction on my house. I feel a nice cottage vibe will blend well with my industrial overtaking. Still working on my house day 7. I'm using marble for the floor, which is always an excellent choice, especially in this texture pack. Day 8 I started to add some stone roofing to my house. Got kind of bored of that, so I started to make my way to the nether. I don't know how long it'll take, but I imagine it'll be a long process of crafting and mining. Made it to the nether day 9. Didn't really explore the new terrain, just gathered some glowstone and noped out. Too unequipped to go adventuring, you know. But with the glowstone I then crafted a transmutation tablet. Noticed that some things have an EMC value? Well, now I can turn this stuff into other stuff. Most things in the game have an EMC value, it just makes the game a whole lot easier. Day 10, did a little messing around with the new transmutation tablet. The goal is to learn as much as possible, because you never know with this game, any little thing you might need later on, then you don't have it. Apart from that, I got stuck right back into the house, finishing off the roof and then messing around with the window design. Bad news day 11, as cliche as it may sound, I didn't record for most of day 11. As you can see, a lot of stuff has changed. To be honest, I ran out of storage because I didn't notice I was recording in 4K. My bad. Probably should have also clipped these days and not recorded entire 10-minute ones, so once again, my bad. But yeah, to be honest, I feel like it doesn't take this long to get this stuff. It honestly only took me a day to hook all this up. The summary is these better furnaces, a condenser, alchemy chests, a generator to power everything, a macerator, and the crowning jewel of it all, the big first bit of Tekkit technology, a jetpack. I need to charge it though, so I built an energy storage and a solar panel, and with that I was soaring off in no time. Upgraded my solar panels day 12, also made my first real bit of armour, nano armour. To be more specific, I only got the chest piece, but it's a start. Upgraded my energy storage too, and it blew up my compressor, which is necessary to make the rest of the armour. Whoa, stop. You're probably wondering if you've never played Tekkit before, but you probably have, because, yeah. But if you didn't know, that's the extractor, that's the compressor, those two are macerators, the brown thing is the bat box, and the thing in the corner, I forgot. But yeah, just for clarification. That's all. You know, namaste, have a good day. Shit. Day 13, I fixed the energy problem, made a new compressor, and made some nano pants. So yay me. Also upgraded my energy storage to an MFE. The MFE is the main thing to charge a lot of the stuff, like later down the line. Eventually you can upgrade again for like the later game stuff, but an MFE will suit for now. Today I just did some work for the nano armor, which is a lonely and soul crushing process by the way. To further upgrade this little operation, I also started to make overclockers, which pretty much just make the machines go faster, at the cost of more energy. But that's progress for you. Day 15, I made some better furnaces. They look cooler and saved me a long time for smelting. Aside from that, I started to deal with the devil, or to be more specific, I built a mini oil rig, allowing me to pump this little oil vein near my house. Ran into a mishap as for reasons beyond me, the pump didn't go down far enough, so guess that'll be fun to fix. I spent a lot of this day trying to fix the pump. I had to put the pump like right above the oil vein to work, which, you know, makes the entire oil rig platform kind of, well, completely useless. But, well, looks pretty. Other than that, I made some cool new tools to replace my caveman ones. I made a drill, a mining laser, and a lightsaber, or nanosaber to be more exact. Crafted some induction torches day 17. They pretty much just keep mobs away from my house, so that's a nice feature, even though they cost a few diamonds. I also rigged up an alarm system on a timer, because my engines, if you leave them on long enough, will blow up. So now I don't have to worry about that. Made the alarm using red power, which uses alloy wire. It's pretty much like redstone, except it can go on any surface, which is really useful. Day 18, I didn't actually do much. Just farm some nether gold. Now, for those of you who don't know why I want nether gold so much, to break it down, if you macerate an ore, it gets turned into 2 dust of that ore. And each dust can be smelted into 2 ingots. But nether ore can be macerated into 4 dust. And gold has an EMC value of about 2,000. For reference, a diamond is about 8,000 EMC. So 1 nether gold ore is worth 1 diamond. So there you go, nether gold, really important. Today I built a weapon of mass destruction. If anyone at home would like to guess what it is, I'll give you some hints. It's big, it's curved, it's red, it's hard, it's a destruction catalyst. Which I of course then use to fuck your mum. Begin construction on an oil refinery to refine all my glorious oil and turn that oil into fuel and nothing lewd or rude, just normal oil industry things. Day 20, I mainly just spent working on my oil refinery, because I need to refine the oil, it's very important, I need fuel, and I need fuel for something. Day 21, I upgraded my simple alarm system to a slightly more complex but still seemingly low-tech version. The problem with my old alarm system was that after a while I realised the reason why it wasn't going off is because it sent like one little beep of noise, because it only got that signal for like a second. So this one is, you know, it works better. Looks like actual crap, but it works. So, you know, points in that direction, I suppose. Other than that, I actually finished the refinery. Like the alarm, it doesn't look like much, but I'll make it better. You watch. Day 22, I finally remembered this thing from Red Power. It's called a toggle lever, and it pretty much makes my alarm system completely obsolete, and it just makes life easier. Had I not forgotten it, but I did. I then spent the day rigging it up to every engine, so it's self-sufficient. Basically, it just turns off and on again every 8 minutes or so. Also made a bag of alchemy, which is portable alchemy chests, which can make life both so easy and so hard once it's filled, so I can never find anything. Big strides day 23, because after this day, in a short stint in the nether, collecting sufficient enough gold, I crafted an energy relay and an energy collector. Paired with my condenser, it should generate EMC from the sun. Now I know it might seem like cheating, but you know, with 100 days on the clock, gotta make the most of it, and that's not really to say it's cheating. I mean, it costs like a lot, like, you know, like a whole entire furnace. That 8 cobblestone, ugh. I mean, it also costs a diamond block per relay and or collector, but you know, that's neither here nor there. It's mainly about the furnace. You know, I don't know if I can afford 8 cobblestone. I might have to take a second mortgage out on my cottage. Ugh. Added a low voltage solar panel to my arsenal day 24, then went out exploring. I thought it was about time to branch out of my little cocoon and explore the vast terrain, so I did. Not before long I found a village in danger, attacked by creatures of the night, and no, I don't mean prostitutes, you dirty person. Feeling particularly heroic this day, probably because I'm wearing my Superman underwear, I saved the village from certain doom, and then figured because I'm extremely lonely, and now these villagers are pretty much my slaves, I thought I could make them my companions. Only problem was I'm more of a dog person. I proceeded to fix that. That's right, my magic rock can shapeshift things. It's a magic rock. It's magic. Found a jungle day 25 and collected some cocoa beans. I then headed back to my vast estate. I also happened upon some oil sources along the way. I noted it down, seeing as I might want to expand my ever-growing oil empire. But I won't. Or will I? Stay tuned to find out. I won't. Days 26 and 27 were spent mostly in the nether. After I made my return day 27, I made a world anchor, which just sort of keeps the chunk loaded while I'm gone. I also made a ring of flight, which lets me fly like I'm in creative mode. It costs 4 dark matter, which I know is a new thing, and it's really expensive. I'm not going to tell you how much just yet, because it's really expensive, but it's also very worth it, because, you know, I'm pretty much a god now, and because I'm a god, I figured I should probably go and kill the Ender Dragon. So I did, and I ventured off once again. Ran out of Ender Eyes day 28, had to return to home base and make some more. I've been thinking about calling this place the Custard Compound. Only for you guys, because I didn't think about it until the video was over and I started recording the monologue. But it sounds nice, so I might do that. Killed the Ender Dragon today, as if there was any doubt. Didn't take that long. Like I said, I'm a god. Went back to the Custard Compound. Ooh yeah, I like that. It's nice. Yeah. Then made some brand new gadgets to ease my boredom with my new godlike life. I built a lap pack to charge my tools, but unfortunately I forgot what setting I left my mining laser on when I ran out of charge, and well, this happened. Not to worry though, it's a relatively easy fix. After that I tore down the now dry oil rig and began touching up the refinery. Spent days 30, 31 and 32 on the refinery, just, you know, sprucing it up. Used marble for the flooring and stone brick for the walls, which I think we can all agree looks amazing. Also, after my domination over the oil industry, I wanted to once again extend my reach over to the mining business. Now, I know since it's Minecraft, we're all technically in the mining business, but since I'm, you know, playing on an older version than most of you are, probably, I'm legally the patent holder. Which works if you don't think about it for too long. But, you know, if you want to submit a complaint and, you know, really show it to me, if you can, you could, I don't know, you could subscribe and like to my YouTube channel. Getting back to it, I began building a quarry. Day 33, the quarry is up and running, which is nice. I also started installing a contraption, which I like to call the anti-explodey, make Custer very angry device, or Sinbad for short. Other than that, I just sort of went to the nether, did some more mining. Not much done day 34. I made a filtering system, so all the crap from the quarry that I don't want gets turned into EMC. Other than that, I made a dark matter pickaxe, which is really expensive because it uses 2 dark matter. Dark matter, by the way, is worth about 300,000 EMC. So it's a lot, it's really expensive. But it's well worth it in my opinion, because the drill is just horrible, unreliable. If it runs out of charge, it's like a fancy paperweight. You don't craft one, they're terrible. Day 35, I figured even with a Sinbad device in place, it's still a bad idea to keep a highly explosive network of pipes and engines pumping out oil from my house. You know, it could end up in a potential lawsuit from the HOA or the, I don't know, the sheep. Yeah, it's one of those two. So I decided to be responsible and move it all to my refinery, where it could blow up a safe distance away. Today I added another timer to the quarry, or Sinbad circuit, I should say. Turns on faster now, you know, smaller cooldown. I also started upgrading my power flower to a Mark II, which is the dark matter stage by the way, only getting as far as 1 relay and 1 collector. From that, I also began hooking up oil tanks to the refinery. Took a while because the engines weren't cooperating, but finished it by the end of the day. Day 37, not much was done this day, just, you know, nether mining. Day 38, I finished upgrading the power flower to a complete Mark II. Then after, I became depressed. I felt an overwhelming sense of depravity. I looked upon the landscape, saw all the destruction I'd created, but then, after some deep thought, knowing that to succeed in my ventures I had to push forward, I had to rise above, and I needed an idea, and I had an idea. I had an idea to cure my depressive mental state, and that's right, I just stopped caring and began construction on a Jaffa Cake factory. Yeah, that's right, we're doing it. Come on, boys, come on. Some of you gotta know what I'm talking about. At least one, I know that, and I'm talking to you. You're the one. You. That's right, like and subscribe. Spent this day just laying the foundation for my biggest project yet, and I know Jaffa Cake Factory might not be the most original idea, but come on. You can't say you've done it before. I've done it in vanilla. You've probably done it in vanilla. And if you haven't, you should try doing it in vanilla. It's fucking impossible. You kidding me? Jesus Christ. Day 40, after I did some calculations on the construction time and cost of my factory, I realised that I don't have enough time at all to complete this project. It's damn near impossible. So I realised I had to seek a higher power. I had to look up into the heavens and then do a full 360, look straight down to hell because I'm using Satan magic. That's right, dark arts, here we come. I created a mercurial eye, which for those who may not know, it's pretty much just a building wand or an eye in this case. Anyway, finished the flooring and about 1 floor of the factory, so 1 down, 13 more to go. 13, what the, oh my Jesus Christ, I actually finished the shell of the building on this day. Like I said, Satan magic, it's just the treat you need to complete, ritual sacrifice, or in this case, building a Jaffa Cake factory. I might try that first one later, if the mood suits me. Which it will. Spent the entirety of this day installing the first floor. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it's painfully hard, so go easy on me. I just flew around checking on things today, just made a little bit of progress crafting the multicolored lamps to light up the first floor. Other than that though, I did upgrade my power flower to the last mark, the red mana stage, which is about 470,000 EMC, or nearly a stack of diamonds, per red mana, but it cuts EMC generation time to mere seconds, so good investment. I went looking for silver day 44, which, by the way, is one, if not the, most useless ore in all of Tekkit. It does fundamentally nothing, and chances are you'll never use it on a regular playthrough, but I needed it to craft an alloy furnace or an electric one, so here I am, slumming it up in the mines, whatever, that's life. Day 45, I finished the electric alloy furnace, but I spent most of the day trying to troubleshoot it because it didn't seem to work. I think it's because there wasn't enough energy, because the alloy furnace uses a special sort of solar panel for it to work, which isn't as nearly as expensive as a regular solar panel, so no harm done, but after a while I just sort of abandoned the project and went back to a regular alloy furnace, so yeah. Not much done day 46, just installed lights for the first floor, which, it might seem pretty simple, and it might be, but it feels really, really fucking hard. Use these days trying to get the wiring just right for my lighting system, but other than that, upgraded my power flower just a bit. So not much really. Made the third floor this day. Try and stick as closely as possible to the Yogscast layout, so I went with a nice sort of oaky brown. Unfortunately, the third floor was an actual floor and not so much rafters, so it pretty much darkened the entire factory. But not to worry, just sort of place these hanging lights once again from Yogscast, so all goods. Day 50, I figured since the time I had to build the factory was fleeting very fast, I thought, why not add another floor? I know, I'm a genius. Technically I had to clear it out, which, not too hard I suppose. Made a gem of density, which basically just turns all the useless shit in my inventory, like dirt and cobble, into slightly less useless coal and iron, and that will be turned into gold and so on and so forth, all the way up to red mana. But yeah, that's what today was. Finally lit up the factory, or at least just the bottom bit. It's not much now, but you gotta admit, brings back some potent memories. Days 52 and 55 were spent just building, then lighting up the floors in the factory, so nothing too exciting. Days 56 and 61 were spent taking a little break from the factory life, stepping back, getting some fresh, inside, all that stuff. After a while, I remembered that I just left a bunch of black and yellow gold lying around in my refinery, so I thought I'd probably want to advance that now. Started making combustion engines, which is what, originally the fuel was going to be used for. Basically just makes it into energy, which is nice. I was originally going to put this sort of combustion engine thing in the refinery, but seeing how I needed to fill the floors in the factory, just felt like putting it there. So that's what I did. Took about 5 days, because you need like a whole pipe water system, you need a pump, it's just a lot of confusing thing. But yeah, this is the end result. Looks pretty, doesn't it? Looks nice. Day 62, I finished off 2 floors of the factory, as well as some light nether mining. And at the end of the day, I actually completed my red power flower. I actually finished off the factory today, and I even had the ingenious idea to make the top floor, and get this, a penthouse. And I also added some skylights. Like, you just can't get this anywhere else except this channel. Guys, you gotta subscribe, surely. Day 64, I realised I needed to add these weird castle things that they have in the original design. So technically, today I actually finished the factory, but, you know, whatever, same thing. Days 65 to 66, I tested out a design I recently saw on YouTube. It's sort of like an alternative EMC generator, using a harvest ring, a gem of eternal density, and a black hole band. The result is you get this neat little EMC farm powered by sugarcane, of all things. I also noticed that the quarry hit bedrock, which, if you didn't know, because you wouldn't, because I didn't tell you, I've been using my combustion engines to power the quarry instead of my steam engines because they're a lot more efficient and they're like a lot more fast, especially with all the ones I've hooked up. They make the quarry go like 5 times the speed, so it just made sense to do that really. Because my quarry needed a new home, and according to the OG design, it only made sense to put it underneath the factory. So that's what I did, and put it to work. On day 67, since the factory construction was complete, it was time to begin the production process, in saying that the day was mostly just spent gathering the necessary parts for a wheat harvesting machine. Building began today. I thought the brown floor appropriate because, you know, like dirt and stuff. Began laying out the first design as a cool sort of complex machine using these pneumatic tubes, which are like regular pipes, except they're better in every category. They're faster, and it's kind of hard to explain unless you see it, but they're also smarter. They also don't require potentially explosive machinery to keep them working. Only downside is, if you can even call it that, is they're not really compatible with Buildcraft blocks. They need these special pneumatic tube mod blocks, which they're useful in their own right, but even then it's easy to convert them to Buildcraft using like a chest or something. So yeah, like I said, not really a downside. For day 69. I took a break from the factory floor and checked up on a few things. First of which was my power flower, and thanks to the contributions from my flower tower, which is my own little nickname for it, the flower tower was turning out to be an unexpected success, with massive red matter profit, as you can see. I've just been putting it straight into the condenser anyway, because it's sort of a simple place to put it. I might design more of like a chest room later, but it's unlikely. Other than that, I also made some cool new red matter tools, which are just a combination of all the red matter stage tools, you know, like the sword, the axe, the shears, just all melded into 2 separate items, so pretty convenient. After going along with the build for a bit, I tried to imagine the best sort of, you know, way to get it working. I figured maybe there was a simpler approach, probably, you know, maybe even using the EMC generator that we just built. Surprise, surprise, it didn't work, but, you know, suppose that's expected. Guess it's back to the drawing board. Day 71, I went back to the first design because A, it looks cooler, and B, it's the most efficient design I can actually imagine working. So, went ahead and built that up again. Made a working prototype today. I used condensers and energy collectors to supply the bone meal and seeds to feed the machine, which I know is confusing when I can just use the same method to make the cookies and cut out the middleman, but I don't have a lot of time and I've got to make this entertaining enough for both you and me, because I'm actually loving this playthrough, some of the best fun I've had in TECHNIC, especially in a while, but I swear, if this video goes well, I'll make a second 100 days with more stuff and less energy collector tomfuckery, okay? I promise. All you gotta do is like and subscribe, maybe leave a comment, all I'm asking. Talking about like 25 seconds tops. Days 73 to 74, believe it or not, were spent just trying to fix the pipes because they weren't working, which I know, I said they were great and they were smart, and I'm not wrong. They are great and smart, it's not their fault, okay? It's just I'm a fucking idiot because I was using the wrong pipe, right? Just don't take your anger out on them, please. It's not their fault. I wanted to take this day just to clarify how the finished machine is going to work if anyone's confused about that. Basically, 3 blocks hover over each space. These blocks are block breakers and block placers. The top block, or block 3, is a breaker, as labelled in this helpful diagram. Blocks 1 and 2 are both block placers. Block 2 will place the seeds, and block 1 will apply or place bone meal, depending which one you want. Each block will run off its own signal, because if they don't activate in a certain order, the machine doesn't quite function properly. The signal is pretty simple, just block 2 is first, placing the seeds. Block 1 is next, applying the bone meal, and since this is an early version of Minecraft, 1 bone meal is all you need. Then lastly, block 3 breaks the newly grown wheat, collects it, pipes it down to the chest, and we're done. In that being said, this design isn't perfect. There are a few kinks to be worked out, you know. A few seeds get through each cycle, but that's fine because there's this filter block here, which just filters out the seeds, loads them back up, puts them through the next cycle to be replanted and recollected, etc, etc. But there we are. That's the in-depth look-see of how the machine's going to work. Spent day 76 on a doomed errand, whereas I flew out into the jungle, many blocks away, to gather some jungle wood on to grow my cocoa beans. Unfortunately, I forgot in this game version, they cannot be grown, only found, which isn't a problem. You know, I do have energy collectors and they do have an EMC, so I can just sort of mass produce them. I was kind of hoping to like have an independent floor with a bit of a quirky sort of how we're getting them using whatever, I don't know, maybe mining turtles, something like that. So I'm a bit disappointed, but I suppose it's not like a massive issue, whatever, just a bit disappointing. Other than that, I did find a underwater dungeon with no chests, so yeah, worst trip ever. Not a total waste of the day though, I managed to build the second wheat machine. Got lazy day 77. I ran out of timers, and while they're not expensive to make, all the parts look extremely similar and don't stack, so it's kind of a pain in the ass to make them. So instead of making new ones, I just connected the same ones from the first machine across to the second machine using a wire across the wall. Don't know if it looks better or worse, up to you I guess. I did start on phase 2 of the process by gathering materials to build the Jaffa manufacturing floor. Days 78 and 79 were spent building the Jaffa fabricator. I first built a working prototype, then destroyed it because it looked too clunky and also not clunky enough, because I think we can all agree if you're going to look like it's going to be all over the place, you might as well lean into that design, but that's just me maybe. So I destroyed it, rebuilt it, and after that was done I just added a pipe to transport the Jaffas through the levels and into the chests. But yeah, 41 days spent. So you're going off the first day it took me to build the factory, that is, so I don't know if you want to do that. But yeah, as I was saying, work still needs to be done, lots of levels need to be filled. If you like to see that, I'm not going to really do that in this 100 days, but yeah, you know what to do. This day I tried brightening up the Jaffa floor, ironically by giving it more of a cold storage vibe. I was going to give the theme its own separate floor, but clock's ticking, so this will have to do. Also figured what factories without workers? So I set out trying to find some chicken eggs so I can transform them into a healthy, working slave. Day 81, I grew very angry, trying to catch these wild animals, quite literally. I guess their attention spans are not really developed yet. Suppose that's what you get for being on a screen all day. Get it? Yeah, I know, I'm hilarious. Eventually I realised that I can just make a snowman, considering there's already snow on the floor, and went back to the factory. I also made some on-site security, just in case someone may be after my secret Jaffa cake formula, which I might reveal at a later date, if I dare being so inclined, perhaps. Along with that, I made a worker playpen, and I know it doesn't look like a lot now, but I plan on adding some, you know, some guard dogs, perhaps like 3 or 4 perhaps, maybe, I don't know, even maybe some Tesla coils, so, you know, everyone knows, talking to you, Steve, when to get back to work. You know, I don't want anyone wasting company time. Got a lot of people to feed with these biscuits. Yeah, but I guess this will have to work for now. Tried getting my regular Minecraft skin today, instead of the default, but still awesome SPHAX Steve skin. Didn't really work out, as now I look like Frankenstein's monster's inbred son / nephew. Since I am without a goal on this day, as I've finished the factory, I decided to set my sights on the goal of advancement. In this case, I set out to make a full set of quantum armor, which is like nano armor, except sounds cooler and is white. This requires the use of a mass fabricator to make UU matter, and then you make iridium ore, and then you make iridium plates, which is, you know, what's used on the armor. To generate it though, you need a massive amount of energy. Well, you need energy, but a massive amount just means it goes faster. Now, here's the thing, at the time, I thought there was only one way to do this, one thing that could give you this much energy, which was a nuclear reactor. Which, I'm not wrong, it does give out the necessary energy, but there's also another way to do it that's a lot better, that I'll learn later. But yeah, at the time, long story short, I built 3 nuclear reactors. Okay, might have jumped the gun a bit. I plan on putting them all in close proximity underneath the factory. which I know might sound dangerous, and it is, but, you know, the FDA doesn't have to know about that, so legally we're good. Ethically, not so much, but, you know, we kind of passed that line long ago, probably around the oil phase, maybe? Or we did kill that endangered dragon for its egg. Day 83, I thought, hell's nice and all, but let's not get too hasty. So in that effort to save my soul, I constructed a concrete bunker, or container, depending on how this turns out, but concrete is a pain in the ass to make, so I did some light-ish insulation of obsidian, which is kind of like the same stuff, except my magic eye can mass produce it. So yeah. Today I started part building and material gathering. Getting uranium was actually pretty easy. 1 uranium is half the EMC of a diamond, and I left the peasant diamond stage long ago. I added onto the bunker with red lights and a security guard to make this bad idea official. I also made some coolant cells and heat dispersers. These cool down the reactor, as well as dispersing all the heat so the heat doesn't build up in one place, because if the heat builds up, then the factory goes up. Haha, just kidding. I also learnt, much to my hatred, that heat dispersers repair themselves when they're not in use, which they're not insanely hard to make, but they are kind of difficult. So coulda learned that one a few years ago. Day 85 still spent in preparation for the nuclear reactors. A massive part was making coolant cells. They're not expensive to get, but they sure are tedious. Other than that, I just made some recyclers and mass fabricators. For those of you who don't know, other than the large amount of power, scrap can also be used to accelerate the UU making process, and recyclers can turn any item into, you guessed it, scrap. These 3 days I managed to build this machine. Looks nice, but I admit I forgot that pneumatic tubes existed, something to be fixed later, along the other things wrong with it. But anyway, today is starting day. I began loading the reactors with coolant cells and heat dispersers first, then, eventually, I imported the yummy uranium. Ooh, yeah, yummy. Feels kind of exciting, especially since every time I do this in a Tekkit world, it explodes. But hey, 34th time the charm. Today I began immediate restoration on the scrap machine. As I said, it sucks. I moved a few things around, but the most visual change was the pneumatic pipes. Day 91 was spent just on the grind, because I really want quantum armor before the 100 days is up. I did also move the fabricator down to the reactor, to try and resolve the scrap hogging problem. Approaching the end game now, a lot of the days will just be short repetitive work, to be honest. To prove just how repetitive, this day I just made components for solar panels. Funny thing, day 93, you know how I said it's the 34th time's the charm? Yeah, both are gone, but the bunker, or well, container, I guess, did work. Didn't do any real outside damage. Certainly a setback, but nothing too bad, I guess. I did check on the flower tower and found 2.5 stacks of red matter, which was nice. I then used that red matter to create a red matter furnace, which greatly sped up solar construction. Nothing really happened today, just continued solar panel production and moved the mass fabricators again, which resulted in one of them being lost. So now instead of 5, I have 3. I'm sure it'll be fine though, you know, only got, 6 days? Nah, feel sweet. Good news, day 95, managed to make enough iridium ore to craft 2 plates, which means I can make 1 piece of armor. I chose the pants because they make you run faster. After they were charged up, I ran around the rest of the day. Had a terrible accident day 96. It was weird, I was carrying this large can of paint for some reason. Then, I suddenly slipped. A few hours later, I awoke with a massive, horrible headache, and also skin. Other than that bizarre event, I also made a redstone generator to power the mass fabricators. It's not the best strategy, but it'll do. Made a slight upgrade to the fabrication machine with the addition of 2 more MFEs, after which I stood outside with my marvellous factory and felt it was missing something. Something like perhaps one crucial piece, an important detail that just ties it all together. Days 98 and 99 were spent to put my face on the factory with lamps. Day 100, the big 100. A lot of stuff happened today, but not nearly as much as I would have liked. I did make the quantum boots though, which is nice. They can make you jump higher, so paired with the leggings, you'd make one hell of an Olympic athlete. Apart from that, the day was spent wiring up the piece de resistance of the factory. I'm happy to say I completed it in under a day. This is the finishing result. Looks nice, I know. Now, I've been having a problem. I'm only halfway through the quantum set, but my 100 days is up. So I once again turned to the dark arts. To expand on that, I used a watch of flowing time to reverse the days. Made like 3 actually, but yeah, the 100 days isn't over just yet. I went back to my industrial roots today and messed around with an oil fabricator, which literally just turns energy into oil. I don't know why I did this. Looking back, I don't think the combustion engines were even hooked up to anything, but I did. And well, a problem did happen when I made my way back to the factory. Yeah, half of the engines sort of exploded and the other half were mostly okay. Suppose it was a lack of water, I guess. But yeah, time to begin repairing. Most of the damage was repaired yesterday. It looked worse than it really was. Some wires were hit, but nothing too bad. In lighter news, I made the quantum chest piece. It has no notable effect, it's mainly just the key part of the protection on the armor, but it does look mighty nice. Day 99 or something, after finally completing the armor set with the helmet, I felt while I didn't want it to end, it was probably about time. So after fully charging the suit, I equipped my 3 watches and set them to finish the day, and with that, finishing the video.